Hi everyone, welcome back to Outcome A1. Actually, welcome to Outcome A1. This is absolute value, and you're going to find this in Chapter 7.1 in your textbook. A couple of key terms to keep your ears open for is absolute value, magnitude, and absolute value expression. So remember what an expression is? Not an equation, but just an expression. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is we're going to define what an absolute value is. And what it is, it represents the magnitude of a number. So that means how big is this number? Or, for example, how far away it is from zero on a number line. It doesn't matter which direction it's going. It doesn't matter if it's negative or positive. We just want to know how far away from zero it is. So you're going to see two vertical bars around a number or an expression, and that's what the absolute value looks like. So like here we've got the A, and then we've got these vertical bars around the A. That's our absolute value. So the absolute value of 5, so if we have 5, then the answer is going to be 5. Now, if you look at this here for comparison, if we want to find the absolute value of negative 5, the answer is also going to be 5. And the absolute value of 0 is 0. So 0 is 0 units away from 0. So let's show here in this one that negative 7, the absolute value of negative 7, is the same as the absolute value of 7, and that equals 7. So what we're looking at is we're looking at how far away is negative 7 from the 0 on a number line. So that's right here. How far away is it from the 0? Well, if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units away from 0. So the answer to this is 7 units. And if we look at where 7 is right here. How far away is it from 0? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is also 7 units away from 0. Now, regardless of what the number is to begin with, if we have a positive number that we're starting with, then the answer here for the absolute value is going to be A. It's going to be positive. And that's if the value of A is greater than or equal to 0. So that means if we have a number on this side, then you see this value is 7. It's positive 7, so we're good. And suppose we have an answer that results as a 7. We could put a negative 7 in here and get an answer of 7. So we're going to have the same answer regardless. So we have to show that it could be negative 7, and that's if the values are in the negative, so if they're less than 0. So let's look at evaluating the following questions. Real quickly, the absolute value of 3 is 3. The absolute value of negative 7 is positive 7. For 9, the absolute value of 9 is 9. The absolute value of negative 12 is 12. And the absolute value of 0 is 0. So if ever there is a negative number inside of the absolute value signs there, we say that the answer is, well, the answer comes out positive. Okay, now let's look at this next example where we are ordering these numbers from least to greatest. So we're going to want to figure out which one's the smallest and list them so that we have going from smallest to biggest. Before we do that, in order to do that, let's evaluate each number. Well, this has absolute value symbols, so this is just going to be 5.5. This is just our 5, so leave it as 5. Here we've got a positive number in the absolute value sign, so that's just 4.75. There's no absolute value sign, so it's just going to stay as negative 3.4. Here we've got negative 12 over 5 in the absolute value, so we're going to end up with positive 12 over 5, and just for ease, we'll say that that's 2.4. And this, we gets rid of our negative because of the absolute value sign. So I've got an actual value of 0.1. And this here, well, there's no absolute value sign, so it maintains its negative. So I'm just going to call it 0.01 negative. And this here, this gets rid of our negative, the absolute value around it. So it's just 2.5. Okay. Now, from least to greatest, that means start with the smallest and write the numbers so that they go to the biggest. Okay. All right, so our smallest number here, our tiniest number, is going to be the biggest, most negative number. So that's going to be our first one. So we've got, here, I'll move this up there, that there. Okay, negative 3.4. Then the next one is going to be this guy right here. So I want to write the original number in the question, not the evaluated version of it. And then next is this guy. And then I've got my negative absolute value of negative 12 over 5. Then I've got the absolute value of negative 2.5. And I've got absolute value of 4.75, 5, and absolute value of negative 5.5. So there it is, from smallest to greatest. Okay. Now for this here, this says evaluating absolute value expressions. Now, an expression is a mathematical statement, or it's a sentence, and there is no equal sign. So if you want to visually see what it is, it means that there's no equal sign in what it says. So if you see here all these examples, they don't have any equal signs. I just have to evaluate what it is. I just have to calculate, figure out what it is. Now, when you see absolute value symbols, like right here, you need to think of it as a bracket. So if a number is right beside a bracket and there's no operation written there, then you would treat it as multiply. So I'm going to do the first 3 real quickly, and then what I want you to do is I want you to hit pause after I'm done C, and then I want you to try the other questions to see what you get. Okay. So real quickly, just go 4, because that's absolute value of 4 is 4, minus the absolute value of negative 6 is 6. So now I have 4 minus 6, so that equals negative 2. All right, now here we've got 5 minus 3 times the absolute value of 2 minus 7. Now you need to figure out this part first before you go any further. So just rewrite everything else and figure out what's inside of the absolute value symbols. That's minus 5. And working out the absolute value, you get, this is basically turns into a 5. So now you have 5 minus 15, and that gives you a negative 10 as your answer. Okay, so now for C, just don't forget order of operations, okay? So you've got brackets, exponents, do your brackets. You got negative 2 in there. Make sure you square that, minus 2. Your absolute value signs are on the outside there. And you get minus 2 times 4 plus 6. So this is minus 8 plus 6. That's all in the absolute value symbols. And you get the absolute value of negative 2. Whoops. That should be a straight line. And that equals 2. Okay? All right, so now this is your chance to press pause. And I want you to try the other 3 questions, and then I will show you the reveal. Press pause. I spelled pause wrong. Wait. Okay, press pause. Okay, so we're back. I'm having troubles there. All right, so then here, the answer to this one is, well, that's a 4 minus 3. The answer is 1. This here, we've got, the answer is 4. And this one, negative 36 in there, plus 25. That's all in the absolute values. And we get absolute value of negative 11, which is 11. Ta-da! Done. Okay, so now you got to make sure you do questions, because if you don't practice, you're not going to remember. So make sure you practice, 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 and ask lots of questions. Thanks.